Okay, so this is the table range, the difference and changes between Incoterms 2010 and 2020. As you can see in the table, the content of this table is the same as I mentioned before. Okay, see that the determine cost and insurance curve and the rules. Okay, this is main changes between two Incoterms upgraded. The user has to look across the several articles within each rule to see who bore which cost. Okay, this is important. Okay, all the costs allocated by each particular Incoterms rules are now listed for the seller in. Okay, this is terms, okay, I will see, this is the same content that I talked to you just now. And let's review this one again as the competitions, as repetitions in turns. Okay, the two regarding the CIF and CIP, the insurance coverage level, two rules that impose insurance requirement. Okay, CIP on CIF. Okay, CIP and CIF are also the C terms, which paid by what? By whom? By seller. Okay, by seller. The seller pay for insurance for whom? For buyer. But the risk during the transportation is on buyer. Okay, so buyer want higher grade, insurance coverage. Contrary, the seller want lowest because he doesn't want to spend money for, buyer, because the insurance beneficiary is not himself. He only pay for insurance for buyer, not for him. So their position is quite different. Okay, so but in 2020, okay, the minimum coverage insurance status in CIF and CPG changed to higher level in case of CIP. Okay, but CIF remain itself as it is. Okay, CIF do not change. Okay, in the guidance note to DAT, delivered at terminal define the terminal Broadway to include any place, whether covered or not. Okay, so DAT is now named as DAU because the place where unloading product is changed from terminal to the place where the customer want to unload. Okay, so the term is changed from DAT to DAU, but the condition is the same. Okay, the condition is the same. The meaning of change of this term is to emphasize that the place of destinations could be any place and not only a terminal. Okay, this is different. Okay. Once it's summarized regarding bill of lading, the FOB pre-on-board should not, normally be used for container shipment. The FOB, actually, this is not for container shipment. This is for, the bulk, not for containers. This is because the seller usually loses the, control of a container once the container arrives at the port of export before the containers loaded. Okay. However, FOB means the sellers takes, all the risk. The sellers take all the risk and cost of export. This is F term, right? F term. For terminal handling charge and loading cost risk, seller should then use FCA, pre-carriage. Okay, let's see this one again. The meaning of this FOB related to bill of lading is that actually bill of lading, I'm sorry, FOB pre-on-board. Once this is used related to the container shipment, the FOB is not, adequate because FOB with a container, once seller determine this term, seller cannot control his cargo because the FOB once arrived in the port of export before the containers is loaded. The FOB means all the risk and cost, for the shipment. Not only, the cost of export, the terminal handling charge and the rating cost, also risk is seller's responsibility. Okay? So, the seller should then use FCA. Okay? Pre-carrier. The pre-carrier, between pre-carrier and FOB, the difference between two terms is pre-carrier is only the seller, seller delivered the cargo, the product to the carrier, meaning that in FOB, once FOB the seller carried, the container in the port, that is FCA, okay? Pre-carriage. The pre-carriage means that, once the seller put container on the port prior to shipment, the port were with so-called, CY, okay? CY. That is okay. That is end of the cost and risk of sellers. Okay, this term is FCA, whether it is the port or whether it is the airport. Once the seller delivered the product to the place ready for shipment. Okay, but FOB is not delivery to, not the risk, not only risk to, the port of export, area, but also responsible for rating and risk and cost, should be covered by the seller. So, in this case, FCA should be used by seller. Okay? But once you use the FCA, you can't pick up bill of lading because FCA is not actually loaded status. FOB is rated status of the CIF. So, in terms of FOB, you can obtaining, bill of lading from the carriage, but once you adopt FCA, you can't request bill of lading. Okay, so FCA is necessary to be used for the container export. Okay. So in 2020, FCA 2020 makes FCA can request on the FCA bill of lading can be published by mutual agreement. Okay. Okay, many of sellers still use FOB because the letter of credit from the, bank often require an onboard bill of lading for the seller to get paid, right? As on the FOB, the seller is responsible for lading. They have a higher chance of getting on onboard bill of lading. Okay. Therefore, to get and help people to use FCA, the FCA has changed to allow the buyer and seller to agree on that the seller will get an onboard bill of lading, okay, from the carriage. Okay. Okay, see you next. Okay. Next, insurance coverage CIF. Okay, CIF and CIP. I told you several times. CIF and CIP under these conditions, the insurance, the I stand for the insurance. Okay, in C term, the cost, insurance, and freight is paid by seller. Okay, seller. Okay, and this is also on the basis of arrival site, not departing site. Okay, not departing site. This is arrival site. Okay. Insurance under CIF and CIP was the lowest grade because okay, the failure of insurance was not beneficiary of that insurance. Okay, the failure and beneficiary was separate. The insurance paid by by seller, but beneficiary of this insurance was on buyer. So the grade of insurance cover, the coverage was the lowest. Okay, so in 2020 this was revised. Okay, the insurance coverage grade of CIF remain itself as it is. Okay, don't change, didn't change. Okay, but the insurance level of CIP was upgraded as A, not C. Okay, so this is saying that point. This is saying that point. Okay, the Incoterms rule CIP means that the seller is only responsible for delivery of the goods to the carrier, but pay for the carriage and insurance. Carrier and carriage is freight, okay? The freight cost and the insurance of the goods to the named destination. To the named destinations, CIF is the same except that it can only be used for maritime transport. Okay, CIF is only for maritime transport, the sea freight. Okay, sea freight, sea transport. Okay, delivered is onto a ship and the destination need to be port. Okay, delivery onto the ship and the destination needed to be port. Okay, the difference between CIP and CIF. Also, the term C is on the base of arrival port. Okay, arrival site, not departing site. Okay, CIP kept the same insurance requirement, insurance level, insurance cover level in Incoterms 2010, but CIP has increased the level of insurance required, 그죠? To be obtained by seller. To be obtained by the seller. Okay, understand? Okay, to be paid by the seller. To be obtained by the seller. This is due to the fact that CIF is more often used, okay, with the bulk commodity trade. Bulk commodity, not container. CIP is more often used for the manufactured good, okay, not bulk, okay, and manufactured good tend to require a higher level of insurance. Okay, this is the thing. There's this thing. The reason why, CIF is used mostly for not containers. This is not container, okay. Also, this is just a bulk cargo. The bulk cargo is usually for carrying, the resource, like a charcoal, like grain, like that. Okay, so this kind of product, this kind of commodity, may change the owners while voyage, okay, while navigations, because the navigations period is so long, okay, but CIP is more often used for the manufacturer's good. The manufacturer's good tend to be required a higher level of insurance because this is manufacturer's good. In this case, the owner is not changed so often. Okay, so also in this case, ownership is not so frequently changed because this is the crucial, the final product. Okay, but in case of a bulk cargo, like resources. Okay, resources material is the intermediate product for the final product. In this case, the intermediate product, the owners can be changed frequently. Uh, so the seller do not have to pay for someone who is not known at all. So the minimum level is acceptable. Okay, minimum level is acceptable. That is the reason why in CIF conditions, remains CIF conditions, you don't have to have a higher, insurance coverage because the final owner is uncertain. Okay, that is one thing. Okay, meaning that the frequently change the owners during the voyage. Okay, this is because the CIF terms is usually used for the bulk cargo, not not manufacturer's good and not final food. This is mostly the bulk, cargoes, materials can be used for the intermediate process. Okay. I told you DAT delivered at terminal has changed DPU, delivered at place, unloaded. Delivered to the certain place where the buyer designated and also the seller have the obligation to unload, at that place. Okay. Okay. Incoterms, the 2010 DAT means the goods are delivered once unloaded at the named terminal as DAT limit the place of delivery to a terminal, right? Okay. In this case, if DAT restrict the delivery and unloading place to the terminal, then in position of buyer, this is the very nuisance job because he has to pick up the cargo again from terminal and has to deliver it again to their product or somewhere he want. Okay. Okay, and also we can see that PAU means the delivered at price and unload, okay, which can now be used for all models of the transportations, okay. Okay, DPU can be used all models of transportations, okay. And then there is no other change, okay. There's no other change. If you use DAT Incoterms 2010, then change of Incoterms 2020. Also, Incoterms 2020 emphasize, security requirement. Okay. In a recent year, transportation security requirements have become more prevalent in international trade. And Incoterms 2020 reflects such a change, okay, by detailing security requirement for each Incoterms rules. For example, CPT carries paid to include a specific requirement that the seller must comply with any security related requirement for transport to the destination. Okay, it emphasized the security in each terms, especially CPT, for example. These security requirements bring cost and risk delayed. Okay, because it takes time to inspect, right? So it takes time, then the security requirement to bring cost. If you take more time in terminal, you have pay for more, right? It's very reasonable. Okay, so to emphasizing and to follow up the uh, security procedure, you will have increased cost. Okay, you will have increased cost. Okay, and the risk delay. Okay, if not fulfilled by the parties. Okay, that's right. Okay, so uh, in Incoterms 2020, the rank of important items has been changed. Okay, the security issues has upper graded. Okay, up positioned. Okay, the position has been changed of each items. Okay, described in Incoterms 2010. Okay.